Welcome to our podcasts, Wise Black Nanas, Life Coaching Between the Dash. Hey, what do you do when it feels like life has thrown you a few too many challenges, knocked you down, in the bed, hard to talk about even with your best friend challenges, and it feels like the challenges are winning? Wouldn't it be nice to hear from your Nana? Or a stand-in Wise Black Nana? Well, they are Wise Black Nanas, Charla Walker, PhD, and Joanne Early, MS, two mature women with over 70 plus years of combined coaching and mentoring, professional human resources, and business experience. The wonderful news is, these Wise Black Nanas are still living and learning about this amazing life, about resilience and grit, gratitude and appreciation, and the extraordinary power of love and friendships, being positive and supportive, and learning from others. Welcome to Wise Black Nanas. Let's listen in.
Hi, I'm Joanne Early, and I'm one half of the Wise Black Nanas podcast. We talk about our life's experience, our past, and our present, sometimes even the future. Our hope is that just someone benefits from our program, or maybe you could just have a good laugh. So we've been truly blessed to have this platform where we share our stories and we share our experience and our lives with you, our listening audience. We had no idea that our talks would be so well received and that you would embrace our podcast as you have. We appreciate that and we appreciate you so much.
Hi, I'm Dr. Charlotte M. Walker, the other half of this two-man boat or submarine or our yacht or a cruise ship, whatever you want to have it.
I like the yacht.
We have really scaled the waters of our journey and are so glad to be here with you today to bring you just how are we doing? How are we doing? Joanne and Charlotte, how are we doing? I'm telling you.
Yeah, if you haven't guessed already, this episode is about an everyday, ordinary phrase that we use and hear so many times a day, probably. Uh, Dr. Charlotte and I use it almost every time we reconnect. And that's really how it came about. We were just, kind of going back and forth one day and we thought, how you doing? It's like, how you really doing? And so this episode was born and we've kind of had some fun. Just, kind of talking about it a little bit. So that's what we're going to share with you in this episode. How you doing? Charlotte?
How are we doing? Well, I could be dishonest and say I'm doing fantastic, but I'm going to tell the truth. And I'm not doing so good, and just the realities of life and just dealing with everything. Thank goodness I have good friendships and partnerships that I can turn to and just share and help me share how I'm feeling and how to get through some of the unjust. And just wait and see. I'm kind of in a wait and see kind of mode right now. So if any of you remember one of the acronyms that the Nana came up with was FINE. But that's really not the true meaning of FINE. If you go back into our episode 2 or 3, you find out that what it means. So enjoy doing your research on finding out what that really means. So we're talking about something that, is dear to our hearts, and it happens each and every day. I am, struggling to stay present and focused on today. But as I said earlier, with the help of unique friends and partners, I'm making it through day by day.
All right. So you mentioned some key things, presence, focus, and what we discovered was that, those are really things that we want to be active and present when we use that simple little phrase, how you doing? Kind of by definition, it's really an informal phrase. It's casual, and it's certainly uniquely human. Heck, there might even be an app for it. Now I have to honestly say I did not search for an app, but there's an app for everything else. So there might even be one for how do you appropriately ask and receive how you doing. We already know this phrase can show concern or genuine caring for the other person. It it also can be a catchphrase, kind of a conversation starter. Because as I said, Dr. Charlotte, I almost always start our meetings off with just doing a, what do you call it, a check-in, Charlotte? Like a check-in?
Check in, how you feeling? Or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
let's stop and check in.
Yeah, yeah. Just a catchphrase.
Yeah,
Just um, you
it's part of
know,
our agenda.
yeah, kind of a conversation starter. But it caused us, I shouldn't say but, and it caused us to think even a little deeper around, what are we thinking and talking about, or what are we thinking about, as we ask that question? Is it we're just asking it to be asking it because we don't know how to start a conversation? Or honestly, do we really care? And do we care about how we're asking and about the individual when we're asking it? So we did a lot of thinking and talking about this, and we're just asking you if you would kind of put kind of put yourself in the same place, and just thinking about a simple phrase that we use all the time.
I think it's important for us to understand as we Joanne and I are partners, that it's important that we check in with each other because that's the only way that Joanne would know or I would know that something was going on and we might need to change our schedule or maybe there's something I haven't told her and she could say if we wrote words and then they come spilling out and
Hmm.
it's really helpful. So we're really trying to before we get into the business part of it find out how you're doing. We both have life things going on, and and other life things like grandkids and children things going on. So it's always good to have that perspective of another grandmother or another mother. Am I doing the right thing? So I really enjoy being able to surprise Joanne with some of the things that my family has done. So
Well, it's just life. It's not so much of a surprise, and it's, something that they're just life things that go on, and sometimes it's just great to check in with each other, get another opinion, to hear what someone else is thinking. So, that's how we use how you doing. That's how we use how you doing. And uh, ever since we started working on this episode, it's caused me to really focus in every time I say that or someone asks that of me to think about, okay, how was that used? What's the circumstance? What's the environment? What's going on? How did I answer? How um, did I start thinking about my answer before it was even out of the person's mouth, or am I on to something else? It just really caused me, I think, Charlotte, to maybe slow down a little bit, to just be a little more present. Um,
right,
in
right. What is that? Slow down, be present.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
we're gonna
just
talk about that.
yeah, to maybe focus a little bit more on, okay, so maybe this person really does or is interested in how I'm really doing. Maybe they're not just saying it as a conversation starter. Um, you guys and most of the audience know because I talk about it. I try to get a daily walk in almost every day. And I started paying attention to how many times people that are facing me or I'm passing or walking or whatever say, "How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing?" And before I can even think, if I wanted to formulate an answer, they've already passed me. So, or I've already passed them. So it's like there, it's more of a greeting. It's used more of a greeting. It's like, I don't even know you. You don't really want to know how how I'm doing other than seeing you on this trail sometime. I do think that sometimes people might genuinely want to know. So remember we shared with you one of our favorite authors, a Canadian author, Louise Penny's take on how we respond to how you doing? And we almost say automatically, fine, fine, I'm fine, fine, fine. And so she made up a meaning for fine. Fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and egotistical. We absolutely love that. We use it, we kind of remind ourselves. And some of our listeners, I noticed from some of my friends that listen to the program, they kind of started using that too. So I wonder if how you doing? It's almost like fine. It's just kind of an automatic greeting kind of thing. You know what? What do you think? I don't know. What do you think?
I think, culturally, I think business culturally, I think that that is one of the things uh, that you hear a lot is in the business
Yeah,
business
yeah.
world is how you're doing either when someone comes in or someone goes out of a meeting. So it's more like thank you used
Yeah.
to be. It's used kind of as speak in a
Yep.
place of thank you. So and it's really quick, real quick. How you doing? And they're gone.
Yeah. Yes.
So this there's you really don't put a lot of sincerity behind it because the person doesn't stop, have a
Mm-hmm.
conversation with you, or if
Mm-hmm.
they come to my office with me or
Mm-hmm.
anything like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, how you doing? How you doing? Bye.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
and that could be very hard for some folks in the work environment, depending on where they have worked before, where
Mm-hmm.
they had a little bit more um, seasoned or more compassionate
Mm-hmm.
uh, leaders who took a little bit more time to say how you doing and uh, ask them what was going on, how could they help, stuff like
Mm-hmm. Right.
today's world is just hurry, 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 get it done. So, um, and sometimes there are certain individuals that we don't want to say. We don't want to say how you doing because that it can either be the start of a long argument or
Right.
a long
Right.
conversation. So
Right.
we have to pick our battles.
Right. Right. Well, it's not any different than anything else. It depends environment, who it is you're talking with, whether it's in person, over the phone, or Zoom, or yeah, a lot of things. I'll tell you one thing though, since we started kind of peeling back the layers of this simple little phrase. It's kind of caused me to really think about when I use it, and how I use it. And we're not trying to make anybody crazy with this. We really aren't. And what started off as fun, kind of got a little more serious as we really talking back and having an exchange back and forth around just how easy it is for this to just roll off of your tongue. And it made us question, okay, do we really want to know? I think as we said earlier, do we really want to know how this person's doing? Or is it just a way to be courteous, be polite, and keep on stepping? So, um, it's made, I know for myself, it's made me, kind of commit to doing some things so that I can increase my presence. Because I have to admit, sometimes I might say this and I'm off to the next thing. Already my mind, my brain's gone on, to something else. And so I've committed to not using this phrase unless I really want to know how Dr. Charlotte is really feeling. So maybe instead of just saying how you doing, when we connect, I could say hi. Today,
Mhm.
what are we going to talk about today? Head right into our planning session. And save the how you doings for those times that, one, I have the patience and the presence, to hear and to really engage um, with the individual, before we get into the purpose I, contacted them, and if it's just a, kind of thing that I'm doing when I'm walking, instead of saying how you doing, just say hello, hi, good morning, good night, good evening, good afternoon, whatever. And save that how you doing to those individuals that I truly, want to have that exchange with. Well, like I said, we're not trying to make you crazy with this, and we're not trying to change any of your habits. We're just asking you to think a little bit about this, especially around, as Dr. Charlotte indicated, being present, being focused more. Charlotte?
Yeah, I'm here. Being present, yes, that is so important. And trying to be present in more than one place is really, really troublesome because you really can't. It's like people say that they multitask. No, they
Mm-hmm.
can't. You can only do one thing at a time.
Right.
So, so with that theory of being able to multitask means that you do one thing well, all the rest goes to crap. So being focused is so important in the listening process when you're talking with someone after you said hello
Mm-hmm.
or how you doing. That impression right there says a lot. It says
Mm-hmm.
that you care,
Mm-hmm.
that you're committed,
Mm-hmm.
and that you're interested,
Mm-hmm.
and that you're focused on that person.
Mm-hmm. And there are ways of, and how would you, you know, explain some of the ways that you can do that without using those words? Because very rarely do we talk with someone and you're saying, "Hey, I'm committed to listening to you today." So,
I wonder
how
the
do you how
way
do you
that
do that without actually saying that?
one of the ways that that's really for me, and I try to use it is that you stop and you touch that person on the shoulder, elbow, and you say, "How you doing today?" And you just you stay around for more than 2 seconds and actually talk to that person. And maybe make a few notes if you can, or maybe
Mm-hmm.
make an appointment for that person to come see you, even if it's only for 10 minutes. That's an interest. That's a focus. That person knows that you are interested in them.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
that will
that's
help.
if it, oops, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. That will help them become more interested in what they're doing, their work, and perhaps the organization. And that's what you want. That's what you want. So another way is through reward and acknowledgement is to really give out awards and acknowledgement that really matter. Sometimes we give them out to the whole group, and it really doesn't really matter. But just make sure that what you do is sincere.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, now that's if you're in person. If you're not in person, as so many things today aren't, you're on a Zoom or you're just on the phone. You can convey that same level of commitment by not interrupting the person, which sometimes Dr. Charlotte and I were so anxious to get a point out until, we're kind of doing that. But we can calm down a little bit. We can take our time. We've all got so many things going on at one time, so many devices that we're looking at, at the same time. But try practicing not interrupting so much, allowing for periods of silence. And then the big key thing is listening to what they're saying. And you let people know that you're listening because you can mirror back, a word or two of a conversation, so you can, just make some indication that you're still with them, that, you're still listening to them, just by practicing and improving your listening habits. Because so many times we're already working on the response before we hear the whole issue or hear the whole situation. We're already working on what we're going to say.
Also before the end of the question, which is not good.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. So if we could just work on that, I know I'm committed to being more present and more focused. And I don't care where you are in your life. I don't think it's ever too late to work on those things. Never ever too late to work on those things. And then this is another sometimes, like, we refer to responding fine. It's so automatic. I honestly think it's okay to say sometimes that you're just okay. I'm okay. I know sometimes when I say, oh, I'm okay, my friends and family will say, what's wrong? What's happening? I said, nothing. I'm just okay. It's just okay. I'm not great and I'm not feeling like crap. I'm okay. I'm somewhere in that in between land. Or to say when you feel like crap, or to really say, hey, I feel great. I feel good. I am really feeling grateful and thankful today.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's okay to do that. I know that
Yeah.
when I was working and I had some bad days, not all days are bad, some bad days, I would just come and say, hey, I'm having a real difficult day. So just be careful with me. It's be careful with me and I'll be careful with you.
Mhm.
That kind of broke the ice, but
Mhm.
it
But it
let
did
people
let
know
someone
that
know, yeah.
if my door was closed all day, there was something going on. So
Uh-huh. But no,
yeah.
I get that. It's okay to say okay.
Hmm.
It, it really is. It really is. So there's something that we can all work on. So I've already shared with you, what I'm working on. I think you could tell from Dr. Charlotte's comments, some things she's working on. So we're asking you, what will you work on? What will you work on? So we know that Wise Black Nanas podcast is not for everyone, even though we love working on the podcast. We know it is for a lot of somebody's. So, Dr. Charlene, I hope that you've gained one insight, you've learned one thing, you've heard just one thing that inspires you to take some action, do something, or just take a moment to be present. Commit to that. Please take time to be grateful. Think of all the things that you have in your life that make you joyful, brings you joy, enables you to give joy. Be thankful, have a gratitude attitude. So our Nanaism today is from Wise Black Nanas. Mean it. The next time you ask someone, how you doing? Be present. Really mean that you care and you really want to know how you're doing. And that's a Nanaism from Wise Black Nanas. So we want to thank you for tuning into our podcast. Please check out our earlier episodes. Check out our guide to life's tough decisions and our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to our podcast and tell all your friends and family. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into our podcast, Wise Black Nanas. New programs of Wise Black Nanas are on the 1st and 15th of each month. Listen in as you learn more about Wise Black Nanas, Dr. Charlotte Walker and Joanne Early. They are everyday nanas. They are not famous, not celebrities or rich, well, rich in life and its experiences. We want you to come back. Tell your friends. So, look for Wise Black Nanas podcast wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Learn more about them and the coaching services they offer at www.wiseblacknanas.com.